Coming up today, the captain makes his formal welcome to everybody on board. We get to find out where the kids spend all their time. And we get to sit down with Laura Sillett, the star of Grease, to find out what it's like to take on the iconic role. It's all coming up, so let's set sail. Welcome to day 3 of the cruise view from onboard the Harmony of the Seas on her inaugural transatlantic home to the U.S. Once again, I'm Picone, and today was Tuesday, October 25th, 2016. And first, we're going to touch on our top stories again, as we've been doing. Today, the only real one to talk about was something mentioned yesterday, that dirty rain that occurred in the Aqua Theater during the Fine Line performance, or actually waiting for the Fine Line performance to begin. Thought it was related to rain and thinking maybe it could have been some soot and the rain mixing as it was coming down. But this morning, once the sun rose on our balcony, which is cabin 9132, the first balcony on deck 9 port side, the same exact water droplets of dirty brown gray soot-looking water was spattered all over the railing there as well, so it was clearly not something limited to just the Aqua Theater. It seemed to have fallen all over the ship at some point last night, if not at that same time throughout the entire ship. So I'm not completely sure if it was related to something on board or something external that we happened to pass through, but in either case, the entire ship did get coated in some kind of weird speckled dirt rain, it seemed like. But today, we were at sea, our little preview sea day before our lengthy voyage across the ocean. We'll of course have a port day tomorrow before that journey, but today was a single preview sea day. Our noontime location was 37 degrees and 15 minutes north by 0 degrees and 38 minutes west. This was, of course, traveling between Palma de Mallorca and Malaga, where we will be tomorrow. And as for our weather, it was our sea day, the only one between these ports, so a little break before, as I mentioned, our lengthy sea stretch. And the weather somewhat cooperated. It was a very cloudy day. This morning, you couldn't see too far in the distance. Throughout the day, it seemed to improve a little bit. You could see a little farther, but the cloud cover maintained and you always had reduced visibility. The sunrise this morning was 8:23 a.m. and we had a sunset tonight at 7:13 p.m. But unfortunately, with all that heavy cloud cover, you couldn't really see any kind of sunset. As for temperatures, we had a high of 79 degrees today, which was relatively warm. We had a nice cool breeze to help counter that. So it was a perfect day to be out on deck, even with that heavy cloud cover. It looked much worse out than it really was. And this morning, we had slight choppiness to the seas, so you could see nothing major, and this evening a little bit again, but throughout the middle of the day, it was perfectly smooth oceans out there. So an absolutely perfect day to go out on to the pool decks, and for the most part, the ship seemed empty today. There were people scattered around. The pool decks were definitely not crowded, but throughout the day, more and more people seemed to discover the pool decks, the water slides, and of course, the flow riders in the back of the ship. So, with a full day at sea, the compass obviously had some items to take care of, and it started this morning at 10 a.m. We had an enrichment lecture with David Kirkpatrick, who was also on board the Quantum of the Seas. On the Quantum, I unfortunately did not get any time to attend his lectures more than a couple minutes here or there. But today I was able to attend the full one. This morning's was the Hollywood movie from idea to hits, and it was worth the visit. Basically, if you're not aware of David Kirkpatrick, look him up. You can find him on IMDb, you can find him all over Google. He's probably not as known as a Hollywood star would be, but his impact on Hollywood is just as big. He was involved in all sorts of huge movies, from Forrest Gump to some of the Disney animations like The Little Mermaid. So his impact on the industry is widely felt, even if his name is not as recognizable as some of the Hollywood stars that he helped to discover and create in his time. And then immediately following that, which took place in the Royal Theater, directly across the way in Studio B, was the Cruise Critic Meet Mingle at 11 o'clock. This was the largest Cruise Critic Meet Mingle I have seen, probably the largest one ever held. The number that I heard was about 600 people had signed up, so it was certainly a very large event, and Royal Caribbean took notice. It was in Studio B. They had a bit more setup and formality to it than they have in the past ones I've attended. It was also heavily attended by some of the officers. They actually had several of the officers, including the food and beverage manager out front, to greet everybody and help manage the event as people arrived. And then during the actual event, it was hosted by the cruise director, Abe Hughes, along with the activities manager, Tino, who helped to deliver all the prizes and make the event fun during their little raffle.
Touchdown! It's funny that you say that because you have zero idea what American football is about. Just keep going. 617-609.
And along with the activities manager and cruise director, the captain also made a visit to welcome everybody as well.
Well, my name is Gus Anderson and I am your captain, whether you like it or not. And I will be your captain until we reach... Thank you, man. Yes, I'm not planning to get off tomorrow in Malaga.
So that lasted until noon was the scheduled time. It went a little bit over. But then this afternoon at 3 o'clock was the special matinee showing of Grease. I, of course, had my ticketed event for Grease the other night, so today I was in the standby line, but I did go and see it once again. And it was worth the second visit, sitting in a different place. The first time I was right up front, you could really see the emotion. In the back, you could see a little more of the scale of everything they accomplished. They really do use every part of that venue when they're doing this performance, and they really took advantage of their transitions in some unique ways, where things were transitioning out in one part of the theater while another part of the theater was already beginning the next scene. So there's a lot of really neat intricacies to this performance. The only odd thing I noticed is that there is no race scene. Forgot to mention this the other day, but I did notice it right away. When they were creating it, and of course when Fox did their Grease Live back in like December or January, Nick Weir tweeted out about them doing some creative stuff to pull off that race scene during the play, but there was no race scene in any of the broadcasts that I've seen so far. So I'm not sure if they cut it for technical reasons or difficulties before the show actually premiered, or if it was cut later on because of problems. But in either case, there is no race scene that I have seen this sailing. And tonight was the, I believe, fourth and final performance of Grease. There won't be any more until she reaches the U.S. Following that, then at 6 p.m. of course, was dinner. Tonight was the captain's welcome reception, which meant the captain's night menu, the night that traditionally I have not liked, and tonight was no different, really. Didn't find a whole lot on it. So for me at least, I got the French onion soup for my starter, which is one of the classic options that's available every night. And for my entree, I actually got the spaghetti bolognese, which was from last night's menu, the one that had a whole lot of items on it for me. And then for dessert tonight, I got a classic that I've had on many sailings and everybody always says is the best dessert they offer, the chocolate molten cake. And this one was much better than the other ones. It seems like in general the food on this sailing has been a step up from the others, but this dessert in particular seemed to be much better done. In the past, it's always been served on a plate with some ice cream next to it. This time it was in a bowl and it was filled with some cream sauce, and the cake itself was just very almost pudding-like, so it was absolutely delicious, much better than some of the other ones I've had that could be a little bit dry and too strong of a flavor sometimes. And then following that at 7:15 was, as I mentioned, the captain's welcome reception. It started at 7:15. You can get pictures of the captain next to the car in the promenade. And then right up here, where I am standing, is where the captain's reception took place. There is no Globe and Atlas ball that opens up into a nice little catwalk like the Oasis and the Allure. So instead they had to use more just a walkway that's attached to the wall that they had people stand on to introduce them, and use this staging area up above what is the Kate and Spade store, formerly the Cupcake Cupboard on the older ships. And that speech, of course, was done by Captain Gus and took place at 8 o'clock, so about 45 minutes into the event. And he gave some statistics on the makeup of the passengers during this sailing. There is a record number of Crown and Anchor members with 4,401 repeat sailors on board and 984 new passengers on this sailing. That comes out to 5,385 guests, which is actually less than the double occupancy for an Oasis class ship like the Harmony. So we are actually sailing below max capacity by far, and even below this double capacity that you would expect to hit on every sailing. So that might be a little bit of the reason why it does feel so spacious, because even during that event, which is traditionally gridlock in this venue, it was pretty wide open, spacious. There was no crowding or any kind of issue getting through the venue. And for the most part, that has been true everywhere on the ship, but particularly tonight it was obvious, because this is one of those events where everybody does come together in one place at one time and it does get crowded up. But 5,385 guests is not a big deal for a ship of this size, and those guests come from 63 different countries, which sounds like a lot, but doesn't really compare to the 79 countries that the 2,190 crew members on board right now come from. Following the captain's reception, I then took in another showing of the Fine Line. Tonight was the final night of it, so I went to see it for a third time at 9 o'clock. Once again, sat up on the rock climbing ledge, but this time on the starboard side. So I've now had port side, starboard side, and my reservation seat down below to see it 3 different times, and every time it has met expectations and been enjoyable. I have yet to be disappointed by that show or found a spot where it really doesn't let you see the show properly. So it is a great show and worth seeing multiple times. There's so many elements to it that are going on that if you're trying to watch one part of it, you're completely missing some of the details happening in another area. So it really is worth multiple visits just to try and take in everything that is happening in that venue throughout the show. Then following that, we had a brand new event for the Harmony of the Seas. They've been performing it. I was told last sailing it was performed in the Royal Promenade right behind me, but today it was done in Studio B. I'm not sure this is the first time it was done in Studio B or if they had done it a few times before, but at least for this sailing it was in Studio B, and it was the Harmony High 50s and 60s party. Similar to Groovy Town, almost identical to Groovy Town in its format, its feel, and vibe to it. But in my opinion, step up from there. It was very fitting for the Greece theme of the ship, and hopefully they'll do this a little bit more where they'll put these special parties that they are the decade parties that we're used to, but they have a little more meaning to the other events that are happening on board the ship. So this one was very well themed with Greece and fit along with it, including the hand drive that went right from Greece that we've seen the past couple days. But for some reason it was very poorly attended. It's the smallest crowd I've ever seen for a party. There was barely anybody there, and even if you put everybody on the dance floor, it probably still would have only been maybe 1/10 full. I mean, it was not even close to capacity for this, or even close to being able to make a dent in what this promenade would have been able to hold if they held it up here. But it was still an interesting event. It was better organized than Groovy Town. Groovy Town was very long, and it had long gaps between any kind of thing to watch. So if you're dancing, as I've mentioned many times, it was enjoyable, but not to watch. This started at 10:30, and it immediately began with a half-hour block hosted by the cruise director and his staff. And throughout the block, they only had a couple moments where they really talked or did anything. And they, of course, had a dance-off like they've done in Groovy Town. But throughout the performances, the actual cruise director staff are going around through the dance floor and putting on little comedic bits, so it was a much more enjoyable show to watch throughout. Where Groovy Town just kind of got stale and boring to watch. And that lasted about a half hour, followed by a full hour of the live band performing. There was a full 90 minutes of the live band. They didn't have any kind of pre-recorded music like we saw with Groovy Town, but they probably should have, because the one issue that they had with holding it in Studio B is that the event started at 10:30. The doors opened probably about 10:20, 10:25 in that area. So people were waiting outside as if it was a show. They came in, there was no real vibe to the venue. The cruise director staff was trying to hype people at the door, but there was nothing truly inside. So once inside, everybody kind of sat down, took seats, and prepared to watch a show, which meant that when the show actually started, nobody really jumped up to get to the dance floor because everyone wanted a show. So that's one of those things where Groovy Town and the music hall had a bit of an advantage because they were playing music and had people on the dance floor for hours before that event ever happened. And if they do hold it in Studio B, they should consider opening it up much earlier and trying to get that vibe flowing before the event begins, because it would likely make a big difference in not only how many people go to enjoy the event, but also the way that people enjoy the event. So that about wrapped up the end of the day. It is currently about 1:30, and as you can see, this is a transatlantic, and every night the Royal Promenade, almost every part of the ship empties out. The 50s and 60s party went to midnight, so that pretty much ended the night for those that attended. But it is a much nicer, quieter night tonight to walk around the ship. There are, of course, different venues that had music playing until it seemed like about 1 o'clock most of them ended. I believe the Attic is still going till about 2, maybe 3 in the morning. And that means that for adults who want to go out and enjoy the captain's reception, 50s, 60s party, whatever they want, you got to send your kids somewhere. And that is why today's venue tour, we're going to take a look at Adventure Ocean. So today I'm joined by Christian from Adventure Ocean. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
So could you provide a little bit of background on yourself and how you got involved in Adventure Ocean?
Yep. So I have a major in international business. To work in Adventure Ocean, the company requires a 4-year university degree, preferably something that has to do with children. But if not so, then something that is comparable to that, or at least a 2-year experience of working with kids. Although my major has nothing to do with children, while I was in university and high school, I was working at kid camps and YMCA and courses and camps throughout the States and Mexico City. And it's what gave me the experience to apply for the position.
Right. And then, what makes you want to work on board of a ship?
Originally, it was just going to be a summer job. Just to pay off my student loans, travel for a bit, then go back home and do something different. But as the industry keeps growing and Royal Caribbean got bigger and bigger, the traveling got better, the salary was great, the traveling was amazing as well. And just working with youth and children all over was a great experience. So it's something that just kept me coming back for more.
And then with any job that you work with children, a lot of times there's additional training and certification. What kind of continued training do you have to go through?
So Adventure Ocean, it's very peculiar because you're dealing with ages 6 months all the way to 17-year-olds. So every age group is very particular with the way that they interact and the needs and what have you. So for example, the nursery, there's always additional training that the nursery staff has to go through, whether it's child development or early development, knowing how to change a diaper, how to get the attention of a 3-year-old, which is completely different than how to entertain a 17-year-old. So you have to keep up with the current trends. You have to keep up with the music, with the movies, with everything, you name it. So it goes from the little ones to the older ones. And of course, we also have the opportunity on board to go to leadership trainings, okay? To develop the leader in you and the people that work with you and just how to bring out the best in you continually.
And then with the cruise director, he's in charge of the compass for all the adults, but there's also a compass for all the youth. So how is that managed, and what have you had to do for the fact that this is such a long sailing?
For the crossing particularly, we call it the Kids Daily Planner, and it's basically that. It's a planner for the whole day, and it has the activities up from the very morning up until late at night. It has the morning sessions, the afternoon sessions, the evening sessions. We throw in family activities as well. We throw in movie matinees. So we're open for drop-offs, but we're also open for family activities, for families to come and partake and be part of the fun just as well. On a long crossing like this one, it's a little bit challenging, especially with so many days and days at sea. We have to make it really entertaining for the children so that they can continue wanting to come back. So it's not monotonous and it's not the same activities. We have to really play with it so that you have your active games, you have your quiet sessions, you have your more dynamic ones. So it's a bit challenging, but it's good. You see it come to life when the kids continue wanting to come back.
And then Royal Caribbean has a contract with DreamWorks.
Correct.
What kind of new abilities has that opened up to you?
So every now and then we have a DreamWorks character to come and pay a visit to Adventure Ocean, and you can just imagine. I mean, you can't compete with a character. Yeah, as fun and entertaining as you can be, when Kung Fu Panda or Po comes in through the door, it catches everyone's attention. It's just fantastic how much it adds. It's like an added value to the already amazing program that we have. So the children love it. We have the partnership that we have with them. We have the movies as well, the programming, coloring sheets, you name it. So. It's something that the kids really, really like.
And the adults.
And the adults as well, yeah.
All right, well, thank you for taking some time to talk to me.
No worries. Nice meeting you.
Thank
you. My name is Alex. I'm the Adventure Ocean Assistant Manager here at Royal Caribbean's Adventure Ocean Kids Club. This is our Adventure Ocean Theatre, so as we step inside, we can see what we have to offer here. So this is a venue that we use every single day. We have matinee movies for the children, a variety of modern movies that we play for them at 12 o'clock noon every day. We offer autistic-friendly movies at 5:15 and every other day. We have our Adventure Ocean blacklight puppet show called Away We Go, which we do for the children and for the adults and the guests. And we also have our talent show, where the children get to perform on the stage. And we also have our circus show, where the parents can come and watch the children perform in the circus. So it's a really good venue for them to come and use. We have movie nights for the kids to come and dress up in their pajamas as they come in and watch some of the newer, most modern movies that are out. We have the Lego movie, Angry Birds movie, all of the good fun ones. And now we move on to our science lab. So this is the science lab here that we use to do all of our Adventure Ocean sciences in. We run a variety of sciences provided by High Touch, High Tech Science Company. We run volcanoes, the body shop, gummy candy. We work with the children every single day in this room, bringing them a fun side of the science that they might not get at school. So it's really fun science activities for them, explosions of a volcano, how to make candy from sugar and water. We go all the way through wacky water science, where they look at oil spills and how that affects society. We also look at the body shop, so we look at the human body and how it works and what changes take place during activities. We look at bugs and all of the insects. We look at health and safety as well on the first day when they come in, and how to wash your hands. Lots of different varieties in here with the science. This is the Voyager rooms. This is the 9 to 11 age group. So we use this specifically for the older children in our Adventure Ocean camp. As we go inside, you can see the venue's a nice open area. There's bathrooms in every single venue for the children. We have protected gates for safety and security, so the children can't operate them. We have a tablet operating system, so the children get signed in with tablets electronically, so we're able to track who's inside the venue, who can pick up the children, etc., etc. We have PlayStations, Nintendo Wii's, Xbox 360s for the children to play with, as well as a variety of artworks, ball games, and other fun entertainment activities for them. Main differences in this age group are there's a lot more games that involve active running around, ball, dodgeball, gargle ball, soccer, etc. like that happen in this room. When we go down and see the younger age groups, it's more structured activities like artworks and sciences. Okay, this is our Explorer room. This is the 6 to 8 year old room. In here is a very difficult age for some children because they're coming away from the phase of playing with the toys every single day to moving towards the phase of doing more structured activities. So there's a little bit of a variety in this room. We do have a lot of free time for them to play with those games, but we also run a lot of structured activities for them as well. We work on the sciences and the arts, as you can see from the other rooms. And we also play a variety of games like Gargable, Dodgeball, Crazy Tag. It's a much bigger space than any of the other rooms, which allows for that free environment for them. We have bathrooms in every room, as you can see again. And once again, for the safety and security, like we have in all of our rooms, we have the tablets for the sign-in and the security doors. This is our Aquanaut rooms. This is the 3 to 5 age group. This age group delivers a very different program than the ones we offer for the 6 to 8 and the 9 to 11 age group. This one has a lot more free play in it. So the children are brought into different theme sessions, Disney's and princesses, knights and dragons, and Sing Along With Me, Train Time. And all of the sessions have a lot of games and activities they can play along with that. So it's very much letting the children run free in this room and using their imaginations take over. Safety and security, again, is a huge thing with Royal Caribbean. So all of the rooms have our gates in. They have our tablets that you can see to the side there that we sign the children in and out on. The staff are especially trained for this age group, and they take a lot of care in making sure the children have an enjoyable time. This is our imagination studio. So this is where all the imaginations are set free. We have a variety of artworks and different products that we offer in here. The latest sensation is Muffalo Potato. So this was a YouTube sensation that took over about a year ago, and Royal Caribbean have partnered with them for us to be able to offer a wide range of drawing tools for the children to take part in. They will sit down and they will go through an interactive learning process where they learn how to draw animals by a variety of shapes and numbers. We also have a lot of other cutouts that we do with the children. They make their own ships, they can create their own shields. Every single session that we offer, we have an artwork that goes along with that. So they can come in, they can use this venue. As you can see, there's a variety of creativity that can take place in here. Okay, here on the Harmony of the Seas and on all Oasis and Quantum class ships, we're very fortunate to have an area which is specially designed for open play. So it's open from 10 AM to 10 PM every single day, and the parents actually come in and they can take part with some activities with their children. It's not supervised by Venturation staff, but it is monitored on an hourly basis, and we come and make sure it's nice and clean and tidy for them. There's wipes available for them for health and safety. We have a separate shoe area for them to drop their shoes off, USPH rules and regulations. We have a wide variety of toys, and they're changed up on a daily basis, so they have different activities to do every single day. This is our Royal Babies and Tots nursery. This is a special area that we have for drop-offs for anyone from 6 months all the way up to 36 months of age. We have specially trained staff. They do a 2-week program in Miami's head office for Royal Caribbean, and they do a special program where they get nursery trained. And they do full diaper services, so they'll clean, change the diapers, feed the babies, take them for walks if they want to. We have facilities in here for them to be able to sleep, lots of entertainment and activities for them to do on a daily basis. Okay. Welcome to Deck 15 Aft. Here we have the Teenager Centre. So this is called the living room. This is the main area for them to come and hang out with friends. As you can see here, we have a whole host of video games for them. We have PlayStation 4s, we have Xbox 360s, Xbox Ones, we have Kinect, we have Guitar Hero, lots and lots of stuff for them to do. This is the only area on the ship that we have foosball tables. So we have 2 foosball tables for the teenagers to enjoy every day. We have lots and lots of board games, Twister, Sorry, Connect 4, etc. We have a massive 80-inch plasma TV here for them to watch movies on, to enjoy some of the games. That we have the Nintendo Wii, and it's really fun when we have the Kinect set up here and they get to play Just Dance. This venue is also used for the game shows that we have with the teenagers. So we do Battle of the Sexes, Boys vs Girls, we do Beat the Buzzer, 60 seconds or less. Lots and lots of entertainment here for the teenagers to do. And welcome to Fuel. This is the venue that we use for the teenagers in the evenings after 10 PM. It's a nightclub area for them. So we have a full set DJ booth with Serato DJ equipment here, and the staff are fully trained in how to DJ for the teenagers. We have a variety of music nights ranging from warehouse, drum and bass, hip hop, house, all the way through to your Latin quinceañera parties. We have a variety of disco lights that operate in here. We have other theme nights that include Tacky Tourist Party, our Warehouse Party, our Glow Party, and also our Prom Party at the end of the cruise for the teenagers to dress up and look glamorous.
So Adventure Ocean is really kind of in its own secluded little area at the front of the ship. You don't really see it or even know it's there unless you're intentionally going to it, so the kids really are separated from the rest of the ship. That helps keep the noise and the ruckus down compared to some of the other ones where the Adventure Ocean is kind of right in the middle of the Viking Crown Lounge or other public spaces. But it is opposite of some of the sports activities, so there is some time traveling back and forth, and of course some of those older kid venues are down at the back of the ship as well. So now, next thing that we have today, as I mentioned before, I did attend Grease once again today, and the star of Grease, of course, is Laura Sillett, and I got to sit down and talk to her about her experience with the play Grease.
He showed up, splashing around. Summer sun, sun is begun.
So today I'm joined by Laura, who is one of the cast members in the Royal Theatre. Thanks for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
Could you provide a little background on yourself?
My background. So I started as a kid doing amateur dramatics with my parents. They got me into it, dance classes, singing lessons, whatnot, instrumental lessons as well on the flute. And then at about maybe 16, I decided I wanted to take it out professionally. So I went through the audition process of drama college, took a couple of years to get in, and then eventually got a place at the Guildford School of Acting, where I trained for 3 years in musical theatre and got my degree, and then graduated in 2013.
Right. And then you're obviously working on a cruise ship now, so what was your experience with cruising before starting this role?
Well, I actually haven't had any cruise experience prior to this. This is my first contract. All I knew about cruising really is what my friends had done, various shows on different cruise lines, and I've always seen it in really good light, so I thought, you know, why not? It looks like a great opportunity, able to travel and do a really great show at the same time, so yeah.
So how did you learn about this audition, and what led you to try and get into Grease?
So we have agents that represent us in the UK, and what happens is a casting director will put out a brief for a role, and our agents will submit us with said criteria that they want, and then the producers will call us in for an audition, and we will sing and dance and do lots of scene work for them, and then there's a rigorous process of whittling it down to a few left, and then the roles get chosen. Yeah.
And then Grease is obviously a very famous musical. There have been several movies and plays all over the place. What was your exposure to Grease before this?
I'd say like anyone that's, you know, 20 or up, or even younger than that, we've all seen Grease maybe 100 times. We all watch it when it's on the telly. You just pop it on and watch it. Everyone knows the songs. All our grandparents know the songs, our parents know the songs, so it's iconic, it really is. And John Travolta, Olivia Newton-John, what more can you say? It's iconic, yeah, worldwide.
And then with this play and the fact that it was a brand new ship, you obviously could not rehearse here from day one, which meant that you were down in Miami. What was that rehearsal process like?
It was really good. We had 2.5 months in the Royal Caribbean rehearsal studios in North Miami on the Biscayne campus of the Florida University. It was a really good 2.5 months. We rehearsed Columbus first and then Greece. It was a great process. You know, we were all thrown in with 22 other actors from all over the world. And we just get stuck in with a really great creative team behind us. And then we all travelled here together to the ship in May. Yeah.
So what was it like the first time you got on board the Harmony of the Seas?
Honestly, it was a building site. It wasn't completed yet. You know, it wasn't open to the public yet. It was all covered in sheets and dust, and we all had hard hats. But the theatre was ready, nearly ready, and to go into what's going to be our home for the next 6 months was really exciting. To see everything start from scratch as well. We're the first people to use it and to utilise all of Harmony's features.
Yeah. And then throughout Greece and Columbus, there's no band on stage, they're in the back, so how do you manage to stay in sync with them?
Well, Columbus is actually off tracks, so that's all really cleverly put together by our sound engineers, if you like. But Greece, yeah, we do have a live orchestra in the back behind the LED wall, and we keep in sync with them. There's a video link to Phil, our MD, who's up on a little screen, so when we're on the stage we can see him at the back of the stalls and follow his lead.
Yeah. And then in Greece, one of your big scenes is Hopelessly Devoted. That entire show is filled with all different electronics and moving elements, but in that scene you're completely alone on that stage with nothing else. What is it like to perform like that?
I think it's quite daunting. It can be daunting, but you can't see anyone. And I think if you're really immersed into the character, then you don't think about thousands of people out there judging and watching and things. You just enjoy it for what it is. You know, I've stood up there and I am Sandy at that point in time, so I just sing as Sandy. Yeah.
Yeah. And then during one of the performances of Grease that I saw, you lost your shoe at the very end.
Yes.
So when things like that happen, how do you try to overcome those and continue on with the show?
It's just a case of improvising and making a bit of comedy out of it. So yeah, my little buckle came undone on my shoe and I thought I'd chuck the shoe off and carry on without the shoe. But then I found it and it was, you know, the audience like it, they're with us, they like the humour, they like it when things go wrong. And so we just have to go with it, improvise a bit and hope for the best.
Yeah. And then Columbus, you have a very different role. In Greece, you're kind of more acting, where Columbus, it's a lot more singing. So how do you approach the two roles differently?
Well, having trained in triple threat musical theatre, we all can adapt to different roles, whether it be singing, acting, dancing, instruments, etc. So it's a very different show. So yeah, Columbus is very singing based, but we had a great musical director, Lauren, who took us through the process. Lots of difficult music, but he really helped us along the way with that one.
And in Columbus, you're all over the place. You pop up at the top of the theater, on the sides, in the back, everywhere. How do you manage to move around the theater like that and stay in sync with the show?
Lots of running, lots of stairs. So we've got the wings, we've got the side stairs, we've got the rigging, we've got the bridge as well. So lots of, it's like a rabbit warren at the back. So we're, even though it's all shiny and lovely at the front, it's chaos at the back. We're still running around. Yeah.
So you're one of 4 singers that are in a group that kind of move around together, but you're the only one that really seems to have an instrument throughout the show. So do you actually play any instruments, and how did that come to be?
Well, in the rehearsal process, Lauren, I was discussing with Lauren that I play instruments and I love to do that. And so he thought, oh, we'll feature them somehow. You know, why not? And I am actually playing them. There's no miming. So I'm playing the flute and the ukulele in the show. And then I also play the clarinet and the saxophone and the guitar. And I've just started the banjo, but I'm not very good at that yet. But making a list of instruments on the resume, yeah.
So you've been on the Harmony for several months now. You're probably nearing the end of your contract. So what do you think's in the future for you?
Well, we go home in 5 weeks, just in time for Christmas. The future for me, I wouldn't say no to cruising again. I'd like to stick in the UK for a little while and maybe further my instrument work in the UK and be with my family a little bit. But maybe in a year I will return to the Harmony or indeed another ship. Yeah.
Is there anything you want to tell the viewers?
Come and see Greece and Columbus on Harmony of the Seas. We leave on December the 10th, so don't miss our cast before cast 2.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
So I want to thank Laura for taking the time to talk to me. Of course, we've still got Columbus the Musical, her other big performance, coming up towards the end of this journey. And that one is a Royal Caribbean original that will be incredible to see, with the giant ship and all the other features they've built into that, knowing what they accomplished with Greece. Tomorrow, we're of course in Malaga, our second and final port day. Very early arrival, we'll be getting in at about 7 a.m. before the sun rises once again, so it'll be a very dark arrival, but it'll be our last port of call and our last chance to really take a look at this whole ship from the outside and see just how big she is before that lengthy journey across the ocean. But that about does it for today's episode. Once again, I'm Picone. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the links.